Hello, welcome to Line War. This is round 2 of the 22 Q2 tournaments, and we have two players starting right next to each other. Blue is Juseless and Hawk is red. Both players have opted for production only, they've got no eco. So Hawk has gone with 3 factories, started a little later than Juseless, and he's got 2 barracks as well. Juseless went with the exact same configuration by the looks of it. He is pulling back his units to start with. Except for these ones, they're trying to catch up. He's trying to draw these ones down and then have a bigger force to move up with. Hawk is using a single line command, which is probably not good in this situation. And I think he's made the wrong line here because I think that was meant to be drawn like that. But I could be wrong. He may have a plan now. No, he's deleted it and he's... There you go, he's replaced it. That's alright then. And Juseless has actually managed to build up quite a large blob of infantry. Try and take out this group of infantry here as they're straight away from the main group. Now, both players starting off with this type of eco means they're going to have some units claiming territories behind this battle. Otherwise their eco is not really going to produce much. So Juseless has 300, but his negative spending is 270. With Hawk, he has 290, but his negative spending is about the same because, well, they've pretty much started the exact same way. So is Hawk trying to expand in other locations? He's still pushing on pressure, so he is expanding here, but he's expanding towards the enemy. These are risky locations because if you get pushed back, then Juseless not only claims this territory, but he's taking it away from you. So unless you can hold it, it's not a very good idea. Now, Hawk doing this has pulled these units away from the main fight and is now putting pressure more on here, so it should be doing alright for him in the future, so we'll have to see how it goes. However, I think with Juseless, he's got so many units behind, not too many from the main lines, but enough to start expanding through the entire map. A lot faster than Hawk will be. His eco will be a lot better in the future. And we'll have some very wide line commands, and these ones are on only infantry, so only the infantry will go there, and the artillery will come straight through this way. And now Hawk has gone for some tanks, so he's trying to push through on this blue line with tanks only, so that they ignore the territory, and they're just going to go straight for these structures and try and do as much damage as they can, trying to outspeed these artillery. But Juseless has noticed, and he's coming down this way now to try and block off these tanks. And Hawk has changed direction, noticing them. He's gone into the back of the artillery. I think he wanted to take them out as... well, they were kind of distracted with the infantry. But I just think there's too many artillery there for the tanks to take on. However, Hawk in general should be able to deal with this with the amount of artillery, infantry and tanks that he has. They have pretty much gone down, and Hawk has been successful taking out the front line of Juseless. He's bringing up his tanks here, probably trying to go around there maybe a bit later on, after using his artillery on the front line. And he's bringing his other tanks up this way as well. So they're all going to group together. He's going to have at least 3 tanks close by. I can't see any more. I don't think any more is being produced. But Hono hasn't been able to produce any more production structures. His economy is at 330. And Juseless is setting up a line for defense. And then changes his mind. And then a circle changes his mind. Now he's going for the attack. There we go. He's trying to swing around through this way. He also hasn't been able to build any more production structures. However, he seems to have a bigger economy than Hawk. 350. Let's check Juseless again, just make sure. 360. Okay, it's only a little bit, but that little bit will help in a game like this where eco is really scarce. Hono really needs... not Hono. Hawk, sorry, needs to really try and make these tanks work for him right now. But unfortunately they've been stopped by the artillery. It's not going to be easy to get units to sneak around on this map with Juseless being right here. He's got the ocean to protect him. How far is his unit spread out? They spread out like this. So he's got quite a large territory spread, with the frontline battle being focused here. And Hawk is trying to spread out a bit. He has managed to claim some units and territory down here. And he is now further expanding up north and around. We finally have another production structure, and that is a factory. So that's going to help with electrics. With Juseless's production, he's going to be able to push back a bit harder now. And Hono is going to have to find a way to get that money too. Hawk, sorry. I just watched Electric and Hono, so now I'm a bit confused. So, Juseless has quite a good defense area here, and Hawk is pushing straight through it. But Hawk does have a significant amount of numbers. He might be able to do enough damage to push back. I think this match is going to pretty much depend on who is going to be expanding the fastest without taking away enough units from this section. So you're going to want all your infantry to expand because they take territory really fast compared to artillery, which are pretty slow, and infantry are going to be fairly useless against these apart from meat shields. Like that. He managed to fire once. So that's kind of the point. You'd rather him to be expanding over here, with the artillery being the only units on the front line. That's my logic there. I mean, it might not be the best way, but that's my thoughts. However, they are stealing territory from each other, and Juseless has decided to take some artillery down that way to check it out. It looks like Hawk has retreated and is trying to build up his forces in quite a large line. And instead of going for another factory ground-based units, he's going for some airfields. And I'm going to assume he's going for some helicopters, and that will force Juseless to go for some anti-air himself, whether that be interceptors or stop production of artillery. So this little unit down here is getting struck by some artillery that's obviously out of sight. But will he get away in time? It looks like Hawk is on that, and Juseless won't know where he's gone because he is in this fog of war for now, and he's kind of in the mountains. One lone straggler. And it looks like Hawk is slowly progressing his line forward. Which is not a bad idea. But he probably could do with some more units or a smaller line. There we go, he's got some units coming in this way. He's trying to make the line smaller. There we go, look at that. So he's tried to set up this concave using the lines in different ways, and it's worked really well. I don't know if he's got enough units or he set the line up a bit too big, but he's going to do a lot better in this position anyway. Sorry if you can hear that buzzing, that was my phone going off. Someone messaged in my Discord. I will check it after this match, and hey, there's a link to my Discord down below. There is a chat for Line War where you can share your replays, and I prioritize replays in the Discord of my channel, so I've got some unique things. That's the plan in the future anyway, after this tournament. And it looks like Hawk has started to thin out the line here. He's got quite a nice line of units here that are strong and holding up, and he's got very little units to fight against now, so Hawk might be able to push through, mostly due to positioning there. And Juseless is trying to put units straight through the middle, but they are going to spread out a bit throughout that, so that's not too bad of a way of doing it. He's trying to find this unit. He's found it now. I think he's going to try and sort it out, or he hasn't noticed it. And he's just trying to expand through the game. He's building up eco structures, actually, I've just noticed. I don't really know who's got the majority of the map if they cut it off here. I think they both have a pretty even split. And it looks like the curve has changed. It's gone into Juseless's favour, so Hawk is retreating. And he's setting up these lines here and having some units come through the middle so that they present a stronger force when they get there. Unless Juseless was to go around this way and try and attack from up or down. But then you can just sort out these circle commands and try and move them around. But we have the first helicopter on the airfield right now, so he might be able to take that in there and see what he can do with it. And he's got a lot more production going on here. And that is one of the energy wells by the looks of it. Yep, there we go. So that will be able to fund those helicopters after the tanks were used and used up all of Hawk's energy. Juseless is probably going to try and plow through this eventually. I think he's just setting up an arrow sort of shape. And Hawk is going to try and slowly push forward with his units just to try and apply some pressure. He decides against it. He's pulling back a little, I think. The focus has definitely been on this small portion of the map. But it's very important to keep progressing through every part of the map, which both players have been doing an excellent job of trying to expand after their initial invasion force. Well, not invasion, but initial groups of units. The helicopter's taken off and he's going to start providing an attack in here. I wonder if he's going to switch into SAM or if he's trying to hope to destroy the airfield before needing to. Either way, this is going to be a hard fight to put pressure on Hawk without having to try and rush through and waste your units. From Juseless' perspective, he's got a lot of units being reinforcing this area, and he probably is suspecting that there aren't as many units coming into this area, because it doesn't look like there are as many reinforcements, because he's gone into helicopters, so Hawk should have less ground units than Juseless. Unless they're obviously being destroyed by the helicopters, but I just mean in production. Because Juseless is now building an airfield, however hasn't had to worry about energy for this entire match yet. He hasn't used any energy units until that airfield gets produced. And he has had to retreat. He's brought his units back. So he is not able to take out that airfield with those artillery. But he is going to be able to secure most of this land as territory. So let's have a quick look. We've got 700 economy for Juseless, who built economy structures. Hawk is currently struggling to expand the map and only has 400 economy per minute. Juseless is nearly doubling Hawk's economy. He's brought Sam onto the field. There we go. So we got the Sam coming out to deal with these helicopters. And they'll probably be able to deal with that quite well, because this is one large area and this is where all the battles are happening. So the Sam will be very effective at defending this area. But Hawk has spotted a second group of units down here. I wonder what's actually there. It is literally just those 2 units. So Hawk's worried about an army coming through here when it's actually just literally 2 units. And Juseless has done this probably because he spotted the energy well here, so he's trying to sneak some units around and see how far he can get them. So Hawk has a concave here, but it's just not enough units to make it effective. In this little area it will be to take out these infantry. He's going to have a lot of firepower there. But there are 2 firing here against 1, so that's always going to be in favour of Juseless there. Hawk is going to need to retreat and build up, otherwise he's going to end up feeding the enemy with his artillery at the production sites. Juseless is constantly building up more production structures, and he has more than enough SAM to deal with the air units. And to be honest, probably stop producing them for a little bit. He's got enough there to take him out. At least at the main location. And he does have some units doing nothing up here. I think he's forgotten a bit about conquering new lands. It might just be for a short amount of time, but even there we go, bringing them down this way might be good just to reinforce the defense. Maybe even try and set them on a different path and take up this way. Just to give Hawk something extra to think about. But Juseless wasn't able to sneak around to get this energy well. Hawk did defend that with his helicopters, and the production of artillery here has pushed Hawk back a bit. But Hawk is still trying to get in there and try and take something out. And his helicopters are hitting and running different locations, trying to make sure they avoid the SAM units. But unfortunately these units are going to be fed in kind of one by one. It's not too bad, luckily. Hawk is slowly increasing his economy, so let's see how far he's got now. He's now on 500, so he is growing. His economy is getting there. And Juseless has built a striker. He hasn't gone for helicopters, he's gone for strikers. And I think that is to do damage to specific things like this a bit faster. Maybe for the extra range, or even a bit more armor against the SAM units. I think they defend better than helicopters, but I'm not 100% sure. So he's got the energy well there, so he's more than enough energy to utilise those strikers. And Hawk has built a barracks down here. And with Juseless taking this land, it's actually giving Hawk more time to respond to this area, so probably could have done with arrow commands and not capture commands in these sections of the map, just so they get there faster. And it looks like the strikers are not going for the airfield, they are going for the energy. I wonder how fast Hawk's going to be able to respond to that, because he only has one energy well, so this is going to be an important strike here for Juseless to try and take this thing out. And it looks like he's going on the offensive on the ground as well, so Hawk is going to be heavily distracted at this point, worried about multiple things, and then these aircraft come in, which probably should be on a blue command to take this out mostly. And he's bringing his SAM down, so they are already striking before Hawk was able to place that. And Hawk has to deal with so much right now. This whole force on the ground, they're coming in straight towards these airfields anyway. And Hawk is bringing a SAM down to deal with the strikers. So Hawk was expecting this, because he hadn't seen any air units at this point in the game. So his SAM units were just there in case the enemy decided to build them. And it looks like Hawk's units on the ground here are going to get surrounded before they can really set up a proper line to defend. Defend themselves, I mean, not a defense line. Barracks has gone down. It looks like the pressure from Juseless is finally too much for Hawk at this point. And Hawk's economy is 600 while Juseless's economy is 900. So there is a big difference in economy. And that was mostly due to those few little infantry units that kept on going around the map instead of focusing on this front battle here. It allowed Juseless to get the advantage he needed against Hawk. So, way back in the game. But Hawk is defending himself really well. He's trying to put in the pressure where they can. He's just brought in those helicopters and he's just taken them away as the SAM units come into place. But now there are so many SAM units, these helicopters aren't going to be able to poke a hole anyway. The strikers are going to come straight over the top. They're going to try and take out this area and these structures. And the SAM units are way out of place for this, because he's worried about the energy well down there, which had been attacked a few times. So these SAM units are going to be absolutely useless at this point in the game. And the strikers are going to tear up these structures as they circle around, while Juseless carefully applies pressure forward, making sure his SAM units don't get taken out by anything else. And not only this, but Juseless is thinking about the future and he's expanding up here, so he's trying to get here before Hawk can actually do much about it. And Hawk isn't even there yet. So this could be interesting. Juseless could end up in the north as well and surrounding Hawk in a defenseless area. What is Hawk doing? Has he figured anything else out? Is he coming out around anywhere? He just seems to be focused on this main battle. It might be that he's got a bit of tunnel vision focused on this area, worried about losing it. Because if he does lose this area, he's going to have to try and find a different way around to get through to Juseless's weak points. But it looks like Juseless is exploiting that before Hawk has the ability to do so. And at this point, it looks like he is trying to set up some trade routes between some of the towns and cities so that he can boost his economy even further. Now the SAM units are trying to move away as strikers are coming in, but it looks like they're just sitting there now. So they will be able to take on those strikers, but there's just not enough of them. 2 SAM units really aren't going to be enough to take on 4 strikers. That artillery didn't even manage to place itself. They're going to take out these SAM units before they even manage to do much. And then they're just going to destroy this energy well, surrounding Hawk's air units. There we go, we've got that boat going across now. He's going to land there and he's going to spread across some more land. Increasing Juseless's control over the entire map. He has taken out this energy well now. The strikers successfully completed their mission. They're going to go home now and have a cup of tea or something, like I will in a minute. And these artillery are slowly building up on this front line. Hawk just isn't able to destroy enough before reinforcements come in to back them up. And Juseless is bringing back those strikers. He's probably going to try and target something else. And Hawk is being pushed back way too far at this point in the game. He just doesn't have the economy to push back himself. And those units up here have been met by Hawk. So Hawk can probably spot these units very soon. He hasn't spotted them yet, so Juseless has spotted him first up in the north here. I would like to know if he builds anything there as fast as he can. And it looks like Juseless is going to get this energy well to try and have some safe energy, because Hawk hasn't built any naval fleet yet, or naval structures at all. Strikers are striking up here to try and take out some points that stop the production while it's undefended from air units. And the end of the match has been reached. I am pretty sure that Juseless is the winner of this match and Hawk has been knocked out. So, there are 2 videos on screen right now, and if you'd like to click on one of those, I'll see you there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you around.